Hi guys, it's Kamal. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be making a crossbody shirt as well as a headband. So here I have a plain white shirt, which is a medium, and it is also quite fitted. Next, you want to take your sewing pins, chalk, or a marker to mark where you want to cut your slits into the shirt. Later, I marked it with a pen just because I didn't want to risk poking myself as I was taking the shirt off, and I also didn't want to risk losing the place where I marked. So here I have a measuring tape and some sewing pins to measure and mark where I'm going to cut the shirt. So you're going to measure your shirt horizontally and divide your measurement by 2 to find the halfway point of your shirt. You're going to continue to mark the halfway point of your shirt up until the point where you marked your shirt. Then, using that line as your guide, you're going to cut the top part of your shirt. So now you're going to measure the slit you just did, and you're going to measure the same measurement on the sides of the shirt and mark it, and you're going to cut up to your marking. So it's the same size as the slit you did in the middle. Okay, so now you're going to flip the 2 flaps that you cut up and make sure they're even. And then you're going to cut the back panel of the shirt aligned with the front part of the shirt to make sure that's even. And then I stretched it because this type of fabric can roll when you stretch it. You can also choose to hem it, but I didn't do that, so I chose to stretch it instead of hemming it. So here in this part, I cut off the end seam. So I placed the back panel to the side. I didn't get rid of it, but using the back panel of the shirt, I'm going to measure the bottom part of the slits and cut the back panel of the shirt to extend the little ties of the shirt to make it a bit longer, so it's able to fit and stretch around my waist and able to tie. So that's what I did. So I laid the extended parts of the slits that I cut good side to good side on the shirt, and then I'm going to pin on the bottom where I'm going to sew a straight stitch, which was hard to sew because the shirt kept getting stuck in the sewing machine, but I sewed a straight stitch on the bottom of the slits. After I sewed the extra string attachments to the shirt, I made sure that the lines were even by cutting off any excess fabric, and I stretched the sides of the shirt to make sure that the raw edges weren't showing and that there wasn't any fraying. Plus, by stretching the raw edges, it gives the shirt a neater look. Now all there's left to do is to cross the ties and tie it in the back. Now all there is to do is to adjust the straps, and there you have your completed shirt. Okay, so now we are going to be making the headband. So for this headband, I am going to be tie-dyeing it just to try to tie-dye it, and instead of keeping it plain white. So I have this little tin can, this tin thing which you put food in. I also have scissors. I also have some blue dye from a tie-dye kit, and I'm going to be using the color blue. And then I have some gloves to protect my hands from the dye. So this piece of fabric I got from a large white t-shirt, and the bottom of it was just cut off. So I'm going to lay the fabric flat on the floor and cut off the end seam part of the fabric, and then I'm going to stretch that edge so it can roll and curl up like the other edge. So here I got some rubber bands because I'm going to be trying to create a pattern with the dye. So I rolled a t-shirt in like a front and back fold, like when you make paper fans, in that kind of fold. So that's what I did to roll the t-shirt, and then I used the rubber bands, and I used 2 rubber bands and put the rubber bands over the top part of the fabric and the bottom part of the fabric. So here I tried adding the dye to the strip of fabric, but the dye wasn't gravitating to the strip of fabric, so I went and wet the fabric in water, and then I went back and put dye on it. Plus, adding the water made the blue a bit lighter since I wanted the dye to be a bit of a light blue. I left the fabric to dry overnight, just like this, rolled up, and then I came back the next morning and unraveled it. I love the pattern. I love the way it turned out. The pattern reminds me of ocean or like the water because of the blue and white spots and how they alternate and how they're like in a pattern. I just love it. It turned out so good. I'm going to be making an Xfinity headband. First you place the headband flat on the floor, and then you cross it over to make a figure 8 or an Xfinity sign. Then you take the bottom string and cross that over the top string. Then I'm going to fold the headband in half, and there you have your Xfinity headband.
도도한 두 눈에 매력적인 입술 네가 내게